The concept today is united in name only. So last night we watched the movie The Wild Robot, and this would be a spoiler alert, but when they tried to reset this robot who had learned how to love, they were unable to because the memories they had developed was from the heart. And so that was not something that the factory reset knew how to access. So what purpose do you think I have in making these videos? Do you think it's to tell you a cool take on a history lesson? What is the purpose that the Torah was written? Was to reconnect us with God. So that is the purpose of this whole series. I'm not really concerned about trying to prove that it happened this way or not. What is important is that we can get these images in our head of these stories, and it can help attach us to the spiritual that it is teaching us about. So that is the point, to give you tools, the Word of God being like the closest tool you have in the physical to the spiritual. So to get those images of those stories in your head. And I'm just giving you just like this take on it, but it's a journey that I feel like the Spirit has revealed to me about, where I'll ask questions, and like I enjoy the process of being able to be like, oh, this is odd. God, can you reveal what you want to say through this passage, and then getting a revelation. So I'm just sharing to you what comes from my heart, and the purpose is so that you can get something out of it. It doesn't matter if you agree with the interpretation, but I'm hoping it awakens something in you so that the Spirit can speak something to you, even if it's totally different than what I am saying. That's fine. We're just having these conversations here. Jesus only spoke to the crowds in parables or physical applications, and this was with the intent that they could be reconnected with God. Because if you are of this carnal mind, you need those stories, those images, to be able to make that application of this physical seed and the spiritual seed, to help you try to grasp that. But if you're trying to grasp it with your own understanding, it's going to be offensive to you, because the carnal mind is unable to grasp the things of God. So it can only be understood through faith, where you fully accept and say, it doesn't matter the teacher, right? If I'm saying stuff, it's that you're talking to God and say, God, I'm completely open and I want to hear whatever it is that you have to say. So you accept it first, and the understanding develops over time. You just receive a seed, and it may take time for it to develop. And so when they're thinking literally here, this is offensive, that he wants people to eat his body. That's not something that people should do to each other. And after this, many of the people that were following him be like, wow, this person is so wise, are instead saying, this person actually is maybe mad. He doesn't make sense. It's offensive to us. We do not receive it. So you don't understand it first and then receive it. The whole entire earth here is of one purpose, and we're going to find that Eber does not join with them. But besides that, all the earth is of one language and of one word or matter. This one could be like the materialization. What he confuses is going to be the language. And what they find is a specific valley in the land. And in this valley, maybe they're able to do what they weren't able to do before. And so they have this idea, this devising of what they're going to do with what they find in this valley to erect a city and to build a mighty fortress, a tower there. And it's probably is going to be so that if it floods again, that they're going to be able to not rely on God and God's command to spread over all the earth, but that they can rely on each other being united to maybe outsmart God. And this is why sorcery and telling of times, these things are forbidden, but really what they are is just a mimicry of the real. So with them being united, they're mimicking what does work, but it's only on the physical level. Just with their language, with their speech, their purpose is for strife and for vain glory. And so it's not going to last. It's to take the control of themselves, do things for themselves. They're building themselves a permanent name. When really Messiah says, lay up your treasures in the spiritual, that is what's actually going to remain. But they're trying to make the physical be permanent, and their sorcery is that it's kind of mimicry. So there's like Kabbalah and Kabbalah, and the Jewish Kabbalah is based solely on the Torah. It's the spiritual behind the physical, where they're searching for these little clues to get something spiritual out of it. It's the hidden meaning behind the words. But if you spell it differently, like maybe with a K, then what the nations want to do is they have no interest in the Bible, but they want to mimic what does work. And it does work because it's like this, it's in the imprint, right? So there's truth to it. So when we copy how God has aligned the zodiac and things, there's truth to all of these things, but it's only in the physical. And if we are part of the spiritual, then we can rise above all of this and not be bound by it. So if it comes from God, from the spiritual, where it's in these higher realms also, then it's something that is going to last. But if it's only actually our own devisings, our own thinkings that is mimicking God, then it's actually not going to last. So let's keep looking though at these verses. This is whiten to whiten. So this is probably some kind of substance where when they fire it to fire, these are the same words here, the verb form and the noun form, is it whitens it. And it might be something like concrete. There's theories that the pyramids are actually out of concrete where they pour it. So it's like this permanent structure that might get stronger over time, like an eternal kind of structure, like the pyramids are still here. So they would have been successful. And this might be a word that's related to reddish, where other places they would have like the red earth maybe, and be able to make this mortar. This is like the same word, mortar for mortar. That's both the noun word. So they said that they would sun or build. It's like a similar word for sun. Like a city that they erect, and this is from the word for greatness. They're going to make a tower whose head, it's the word for head, is in the heavens, and they're going to do to themselves a name. They're going to do it for their own reputation in order that they are not broken apart, scattered abroad. And the irony is that they will be broken apart and scattered abroad. And we want to get into what might actually be happening there, where it's an internalized breaking apart, because we are pottery upon the face of all the earth. And so God came down to see this city and greatness that they were establishing, and this is the son of man, the sons of the Adam, which means that they're doing it of the earth. They're not doing it from what is above. So he's saying, behold, the people are one, they're united, and their language is one. Now, people's language actually is directly tied with their culture. So in order for a language to survive, it has to be actively spoken by a people of a specific culture. So even if someone is speaking your language, they're not speaking your language, people have different ways of communicating of what is important to them. Like some people are more physical in how they communicate, some people are more giving, so you have these different languages, right? And so somebody might be more logical and somebody's more emotional, and they could be speaking to you and it's going completely over your head. So I'm not sure that language is fully developed here, but because if God scattered them inside themselves to where now they're just drawn to one particular thing, and other things they're just completely disconnected to, where it's not like a culture kind of thing to them. So people look at other people and they're like, oh, they're different than me. I don't understand them. I don't know why they do what they do. And then it kind of creates this division. Like, why would people settle based on their languages, where if this was in their heart to do this, they already knew what they were doing. They already were in the process of building the city and of building the tower. And so sure, language is a barrier, but there's people who spoke the same language because they're settling together based on their languages. It seems like they could have overcome this as well if this was something that they from their heart wanted to do, because they already had the skills, they already had the divisions. Just kind of keep doing what you're doing, and you can communicate to other people like with gestures and things. It seems like they could have found a way to still be united, but I don't think that they remained united, that they wanted to go about and say, I'm going to be more of a farmer, and I'm going to go do this. This doesn't make sense to me anymore. And this is that word for kind of pierce through, in a way of like profaning, where you're going to do something that's never been done before. And so nothing is going to be fenced off from them. There's no boundaries that they can't cross, because when you're like united, then whatever you're united in, you can do. That's just how it works, which they have devised to do. So they are going down like all those who are of the nature of God, who have not defiled themselves. That in its way is God, as I understand it. Like it's all this consciousness that is at work in them, since they're not resisting God or changing their identity. Then it is God that is within them doing all of this. So that's how I understand the us, but it's one because they're all united. It's this consciousness, and he is going to confound their language. And the way that I see this is, some people think that we have this 24 strand. This is just something I pulled up. I've never been to like this website. I'm not recommending like them adding this to your cart. But this person, it seems pretty cool, but I try to like develop on my own a little bit more, and not just take in whatever. I let it like kind of marinate a little bit. So I watched a few of her videos. So somewhere along here, there might be something where she had mentioned this 24 strand DNA. And what happened, according to the revelation of Ashara-Din that she's talking about, is that like the angels working together with God allowed us to keep, I don't know if it was 6 or 12 of our strands. So within us, we can all have 24 strands, but we don't have access to all of them. And that's how the earth got divided. is just one people group had access to this one strand that none of the others had access to. And when we all come together again, then we're going to be super powerful, but we have to learn to accept each other first, to not have this idea that my culture is better and I'm not going to accept your culture. If you learn somebody's language, you're really learning their culture. Hebrew is about like not accepting like the physical appearance, but more like the purpose. And it's very hands-on in that way, where it's not like these mystical, hard to understand things, where it's like, however, if they were farmers, they're speaking in that language to each other. It's not like these where we name people today, and it doesn't have any meaning. Everything in Hebrew has this very hands-on, applicable, understandable meaning. So learning that, it kind of actually helps change you and maybe awaken something else in you, like a totally different way of thinking. So she goes over some of these things and how to help connect with your other strands. I haven't like delved into it too much though. So they were building the city and the tower in order that they not be broken apart all over the earth. And what happens is they get broken apart, um, breaking into pieces, dashed to pieces, dispersed. So that's what could have happened, like with Adam, he's cut off from maybe his heart, the tree of life. And here they're cut off from the rest of their DNA, to where they're not united anymore. Like, why couldn't they agree anymore? Because it was only in name. It was so they could each develop this reputation, and now it's more about our culture, that we're seeing each other as different people. We're not united because we're different. So he scattered them from there over the face of all the earth. They're confounded. This is the word for like confusion, um, from balal, mingle, confound, anointed. Like if you mixed oil with flour, um, he's mixing them together differently than how they were. So they're seeing each other differently, and they can't agree anymore. Is how I think. And when that happens, I think that's how languages develop. But the beginning part is like these different interests, and so you have these different ways of communicating with each other, and so they no longer saw each other as one, because it was just for a reputation and a means of control, of making the physical permanent, instead of going along with what God had said. So that's the concept of united in name only.